Tom, how are you? And these are cutting edge benefits at ClaimLinx, aren't they? What you can do by cutting it in
Yeah,
so many ways.
yeah, I mean, they're cutting edge, all right. I mean, we're using a 1954 tax law and some common sense, and we're saving people a lot of money.
But you figured it out, right? It was there all along.
Uh,
People didn't
it's
see it.
been there all along. It's just the rates have gotten so out of control for businesses that, a 20% spread here or there is huge. Sometimes we're talking 80% though. It's crazy.
So tell me about what you're talking about with benefits. Like, what do you mean? Like the rates have gone up so high?
Um, So the average family rate that I'm seeing out there is about $2,000 roughly a month per employee that has family coverage. Um, to give you a perspective, my family rate for my own company right now is $450 using the same networks that the insurance carriers are huge, like Cigna or Aetna, those kind of networks. And people are not realizing that they're eligible to pay a lot less because of a 1954 tax law that is the cornerstone of self-funding. That, but in our case, you're self-funding your savings. So you're playing with the casino's money.
So let's break down the difference between self-funded and fully insurance health plans.
Okay. So what the government did in 1954 is a couple companies you might have heard of, Procter and Gamble, General Electric, and the actual federal government wanted to not pay insurance premiums to transfer risk and take on the risk themselves. So Congress passed Section 105 in 1954. Took them 20 years to figure out who was going to police it, and it was jointly the IRS for tax purposes and the Department of Labor for discrimination issues. So they call those the ERISA laws in 1974. So then, fast forward, we've added HIPAA laws, the Affordable Care Act, all kinds of COBRA, all kinds of fun things. So the premise of self-funding is instead of buying insurance, transferring risk, you take the risk. So that is what a lot of these employers have done. So that is the premise of self-funding. The downside of self-funding currently is because of the HIPAA and the Affordable Care Act, it makes little sense to take on like 50 or 100 or $200,000 risks because the most unhealthy people could be on plans with no pre-existing because of the Affordable Care Act with no limits. So literally, you could be in some states, we'll pick on Pennsylvania, where you're on your self-funded plan renting a Blue Cross network. And what the people don't realize is that you could shift all your unhealthy risks onto an individual plan with the same network and self-fund with a $5,000 or $6,000 risk versus a couple $100,000 risk. And that's all because of the HIPAA laws and the Affordable Care Act and the pre-existing. The misnomer is the HIPAA laws actually got rid of pre-existing. But the ACA came in and just made it ridiculously easy. So what happens is the self-funded plans that are being sold, traditional self-funding plans, make little or no sense. The products that make sense is utilizing the same tax law, but doing it with lower deductibles because the cost is so much cheaper than it was uh, when they did go self-funding in terms of the risk. And if you know somebody has a cancer or they're high utilizers and they're going to hit 200,000 every year, why would you keep them on taking on that $200,000 risk when for 5, 6,000 you can shift that away and save on just that one person over $190,000? It makes no sense. So self-funding, the premise of it goes back to 1954. So fully insured is just the difference from self-funding is you're going to the insurance company and they're taking on all the risk for you. So you're buying from them. The problem with those plans is the cost has skyrocketed. So the smart consumers take advantage of all the laws, the Section 105, HIPAA laws, the Affordable Care Act. There's all kinds of ways to finance the claims because of grants and manufacturers' rebates that you really don't have to pay a lot and you can cut your costs in half and provide more to the employees.
So with companies, what do they usually do? They purchase which one more often? The
Um,
self-funded or the fully insured?
well, most time when company hits 100 people, they think that they have to do drastic changes, and what they don't realize is um, there's no reason to change the philosophy. It's the same. The problem is the people peddling the health insurance. There's all kinds of hidden costs in the self-funding, such as the drugs, uh, the reinsurance, all these costs that are associated. They slip in fees, so the broker makes a lot of money, and a lot of the hidden fees are part of doing business. Where on the fully insured, they get commissions, but they don't tell you about their bonuses they get on the from the health insurance carriers putting such volume with them. So if you get a large agency who has $1 billion under management, they're making a 5% bonus, maybe 6%. Think about how much money that is, 50, 60 million a year. So the problem is with the whole industry is greed. Gordon Gekko said greed is good. Well, it can be, but it's not good with health insurance because what's happening is people are paying roughly 2000 a month for their family health coverage on these fully insured plans. And on self-funded, they're averaging close to 2000 the way they're set up because greed is good.
Yeah, I mean, and interesting, interesting point of view. Now, basically, does ClaimLinx give you the best of both worlds? It sounds like, based on depending on your company.
Each company, it's like if you go to the doctor and you have 20 people go to the doctor, each person gets a different diagnosis, whatever they have high cholesterol, they have diabetes, they're perfectly fit, whatever their story is. The problem is that health insurance, all they have is group health insurance in their eyes. They don't realize that it can be catered. Each company can cater their own benefits, and then they can even break it down to employee level. As long as they're offering to do it for all, they have no issues.
Wow. Okay. Quite interesting when you think about those things to look at. Do you have some studies of like some, I know on your website at claimlinx.com, you definitely have some case studies, but of ways of you've saved businesses money.
There's all kinds of different ways. That's the frustration I think the agents have is they don't understand the tax law and they don't understand what you can and cannot do. So if all you have in their eyes, everything's group health. So if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? Same deal. Whereas you could be better off on a spouse's plan or a military or an individual. You don't have to be on the group health plan to receive group benefits. That's the misnomer out there.
And how have you been able to save companies? Is there any ones you'd like to share?
I've have many the the biggest savers have been the ones two types. The ones above 50 is the ones that are self-funded, showing them exactly what I mentioned before. Sometimes self-funded plans have what they call lasers. So if you have cancer or something, they will say to the employer, Our reinsurance won't cover that. You have to cover that. So the employer may be out five, $600,000. It's extreme. So they have $2, $3 million of claims among 10 people. Why would you not put those 10 people on a plan shifting the risk? The agents are running around trying to scare people, saying that each participant could face $100 a day fine. And I sit there and I go, you would agree that's 365 times 100 is 36,500. So if you have 10 people, that adds up to about $365,000, assuming they're right, which I strongly feel not. But that's 365,000 and you're paying 3 million bucks out for those 10 people. Would you rather pay the 365 plus maybe 50 more thousand for the costs of everything? So call it 415,000, or would you rather pay 3 million? Doesn't seem to be a tough choice to me. Those are what people they're running around. That's the fear they're trying to scare people with. And I sit there and I laugh because they could never be in willful neglect because of the fact there's no argument one way or the other. So it'd be real reason. So they would not have to pay 36,500. In fact, they would never be fined. But that's another topic, another day. In terms of the fully insured smaller groups under 50, it makes zero sense to have an affordable health plan. Why would you have an affordable health plan when you have people who are eligible for tax breaks and can get their premiums down to 0 or 50 bucks or 100 bucks a month? And you as a company can cover their deductible tax free. Instead of giving 2,000 a family, now you pay 100. It's insane. People aren't taking advantage of that.
No, they're definitely not taking advantage of it. And it's very interesting. And it would be something your experience for so many years to figure this out. And you do it so much differently than someone who's selling that insurance directly to the consumer or a third party selling it. Because what you're doing is you're basically customizing things for those companies and helping them work
We're
through.
con Yeah, we're consulting, working on what we say to.
All right.
That's period.
And saving is a good thing.
Apparently, for some, it's not.
Okay. All
For
right.
most, it is.
Absolutely. So the best place, Tom, people can go is claimlinx.com, and you can right there schedule a call with you or your team to see how you can help a business save money on their benefits and decrease those premiums and costs that are killing them. It's in the bottom.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Tom. Appreciate it. All right, that was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and also the Cutting Edge Benefits podcast, guys. Take care.